Oh, wait.
All right. Shut up, Lenny. Jesus Christ, you're so obnoxious. Ugh. So yeah, anyway. Excuse me. Hello, welcome.
Hello. Today,
we're gonna talk about this little-known indie game called Deltarune. We did a discussion. Like, if you don't know what it is, excuse me. Have you try looking it up? You'll find it. And if you don't know what it is, I don't know why you would be watching this anyway.
Yeah, and also, in case you don't know what it is, then just don't watch it, because this shit is going to be full of spoilers.
Yes, we are going to spoil the game, or at least chapter 2, and probably chapter 1. I mean, we'll probably talk a little bit about it. I don't know, whatever comes up.
But like, should we start by saying, like, very generally, without spoilers, our thoughts, like in a very short summary of, like, yeah, it's good.
Well, yeah, that's a summary.
It's really good. You should play it. All right, time for spoilers.
It's probably the best thing Toby has done.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, we did a discussion when Chapter 1 released. And the main reason we're doing this for Chapter 2, I mean, for one, people wanted to hear our opinion. Or at least some people did when we did the Nintendo Direct. And there was the Deltarune for Switch, quote-unquote, reveal as well for Chapter 2. Some comments talked about wanting to hear our opinions, and you know what? Why not? It's also a very neat time capsule, I feel like, for the two of us whenever further installments or like further chapters released to look back at what we thought.
It's fun to see, like,
what could happen.
And also, like, especially like with Chapter 1, like prediction of like, what is this gonna be? And now with Chapter 2, we have a bit of a better idea what it's gonna be, but then it's gonna be fun to see what we got right, what we got completely wrong, you know, that kind of stuff.
That's the thing. After Chapter 1, there was like a general thing what was going on, but there were so many questions or so many open-ended things. You couldn't really form an opinion or an idea on what was happening or what the story was going to be.
It was just, I mean, it's Chapter 1, it's just the introduction basically, and that's why it's like now with Chapter 2, it's like, okay, and this is how it's going to continue for the rest of the game.
And looking back at Chapter 1, and I replayed it, by the way. For people wondering why there's no Deltarune Chapter 2 on my channel, that's because I joined Lenny's stream.
Yeah.
You can watch that on his channel. Maybe I'll link it in the description.
Put the link in the description or something in case people missed it.
Yes. Yeah, replaying Chapter 1 again, like, and I feel like that was my opinion. After playing Chapter 1 originally, like, yeah, it's good, but it didn't feel all that crazy. Like, it was fun, but it wasn't, like, at that point, I felt like Undertale was still a better game.
Oh, obviously, yes.
But now that I've played Chapter 2, I can definitely see why Chapter 1 wasn't as interesting, because, like, it was literally the introduction to the characters.
Yeah, again, that's the thing, it's the introduction, it's the setup, so it's like, it's super good, but of course it's not gonna reach the heights of Undertale, because Undertale is a complete thing. That doesn't, like, oh man, that game gets so fucking amazing and crazy at the end, but yeah, like, it's the end. We can't have an end right now, because there are like 7 chapters.
Exactly. Chapter 1 is just like setup and like very subtle hints at what the future is gonna hold.
Yeah, and that's what makes
very minor.
Yeah, and that's what makes Chapter 2 so much better, is the fact that now we know, like, oh, okay, so this is probably like what the structure of the game is gonna be like. We know, like, oh, okay, we feel like these things are gonna become like the more important themes for the game. Like, we have a much better idea of what the game in total is gonna end up being.
Yeah, it's like you can definitely get more of a feel like, oh, this is going on.
Yeah.
Hold up. I'm going to write down a word so I don't forget about it.
Oh.
Because that's like one thing I definitely want to mention, because I feel like that was an idea I had even playing Chapter 1. And I feel like it might not even be... Goddamn it, I'm just I'm just gonna shut up. I'll talk about it later. It's like what I feel the general theme of the game could be.
Yeah, I think
like,
near the end of the video
anything
we're probably
we say is still a conjecture and just guessing.
Yeah, like
we do not know.
Yeah,
what
I'm
the plot
sure.
is
Like
gonna be.
probably near the end of the video we're gonna talk about like what we think the rest of the game is gonna be like. The following chapters, etc.
Yes. Yeah, generally, our thoughts. I mean, it's always tough doing these because, like, how the fuck do we structure this?
Yeah, I mean,
we're not professionals.
Yeah, I think I would start with when I think about chapter 2. This is probably the first thing I think about, and that's the fact that I think this is probably the funniest thing that Toby has done. Like
that is, yes,
and it's mostly like honestly, it can be summed up by just saying two words. The first being queen and the second being Birdly.
Yes. No, I feel like it's more like there's so many random, like, dumbass jokes.
Yeah,
just there every minute, I want to say there is a joke in this game.
Yeah, and like I would say like
Maybe a bit
95% of the times they're like total hits. Like
yeah.
And like just and I mean just like dialogue wise, Queen is absolutely hysterical.
Yes.
Like everything she says is incredible.
She's such a fun. I don't want to call her a villain. She's just a fun antagonist.
Yeah.
She's not a villain.
And then like her weird internet speech, like all caps,
She's an
no
internet
punctuation.
Troll, Lenny. Yeah. Dude. It's just man. It's like just the Queen. I don't know how Toby's gonna like top the Queen.
Yeah, she's
as like an antagonist.
Yeah, she's like so good. But like honestly, I don't know, like if anything, because we're gonna talk about more characters later probably, but like this chapter 2 really made me feel like, yeah, okay, Toby really wasn't like lightning in a bottle. He's just really good at what he does. Like he has
he's very talented.
He has such like, I don't know, like a perfect mindset or like perfect vision for creating the most memorable and funniest characters. I don't know how he does it, but like every time he just makes characters where you're like, this is my favorite now. Then he comes up with a new character, like, oh no wait, this is my favorite now.
Yeah, and it's like even the humor doesn't even clash with the more emotional moments.
Yeah, it's like
it's so weird how
he can balance it so well.
Yeah,
I don't get it. I don't know how he does it. Because like the lighthearted stuff and the funny stuff is hilarious, but then like the dark stuff in this one is like so much darker and like oof, like.
All right, so real quick
well.
Before we expand on the whole dark stuff. I mean, we're definitely going to talk about that whole thing. You know what it is. Well, like, is there anything you would really call dark in the base roots of the game? Like, you just play the game as most players would.
Yeah, of course. In the base route,
there's nothing really that dark. There's still like
the only
more emotional
moment where it's like, oh shit, is stuff like, you know, like when suddenly Lancer feels sick and then he gets petrified and he's like, oh no, what's going on? But it's like, oh no, it's okay if we go back to then it's
like
fine.
Oh no, poor Lancer.
Yeah. Like it's But again, I feel like any of that stuff is probably gonna be stuff for near the end of the game.
I don't know, I feel like it's more like setup for, I mean, unless Rules the car that wants to be like a dummy and join us every time and then turn to stone every time, maybe that'll be a running joke. I don't know. I feel like there's more of a setup to have the idea that characters from previous chapters will not join in new chapters because they'll just turn to stone and it can't really be part of the story in the new chapters.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm wondering is like how much each chapter is going to be its own thing. Yeah, it's probably. I think it's probably going to be like every chapter is its own thing when you're in the dark world. But then once you're outside of the dark world, then it's like, okay, actual continuation of like plot.
I mean, I guess the Lancer can survive in our pocket.
That's true. As long as he's in the pocket, he's fine.
As long as he's in the pocket dimension, he's fine.
But
yeah.
one because just like, I mean, to finish off the whole, it's funny talk. Just like, again, it's also like you mentioned, like one of the things, because it's not just like, you know, funny dialogue. One thing that Toby really does a lot, which I mean, I applaud him for putting that much effort into it. Like, he creates so many specific like assets, like whether it's like songs or like specific sprite work and stuff, like he builds entire cutscenes and stuff for the only reason just to make a dumb joke.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, and the crazy thing is there are so many jokes right now. You could be like, oh, remember this, and it would be like, oh god, I forgot about that one.
Yeah,
it's like there are so many jokes.
Yeah,
it is
like something
crazy how funny chapter 2
like
is.
Something is that was like Noelle putting on the box to hide, and then it's like, yeah, okay, let's go. And then there's like, she walks with the box, then trips over the statue, and then it's like, oh, oops, maybe I should take the box off. And then the box is off, and then she looks like, you know, like she always does. But it's like, they made all of those extra sprites just for this one joke that takes up like 2 seconds of the entire game.
Yep. Oh man, that brutally sad shoe.
And the
I'm kind of still upset you didn't check it multiple times on your stream.
I missed that funny dialogue. It's really good dialogue.
Very, very good. Mwah. Chef's kiss, Toby. I know you're not watching this, but mwah. Spiritual chef's kiss. I hope you receive this somehow.
Yeah. But yeah, like again, like super funny. Queen is amazing. Birdley's fun. Cause like, man, like it was funny. Like during the stream, I was like, oh man, like, you know, this is like, I assume like, yeah, this is gonna be like the Noelle chapter. So I was like, yeah, okay. Oh man, dude, I can't wait for the Birdley chapter, because Birdley's so stupid. I love him. I want a chapter with Birdley. And then lo and behold, apparently it was his chapter too.
Dude, fucking Birdley.
He's so.
Well, I feel like
I love him. He's such a fucking loser.
Yes, it's like such a gamer.
Ultimate gamer.
It's like one thing that definitely amplified this for me is like, and that amplifies a lot of games for me, just when I played them with you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's just like the dumb voices we do. It's like it just makes the experience so much better. It's like, god damn, your Queen voice.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Like, I think Queen is, because like, I'll totally admit, like, I watched some other streams of Deltarune with then other people doing voices, and I gotta say, for some reason, suddenly Queen wasn't as funny when other people were doing it, because they weren't doing the specific voice that I had in mind.
Exactly. It's like your Queen voice is just on point.
Yeah, where she's just like,
I could imagine a better
she's just
Queen
like,
voice.
oh god, Chris getting caught. Chris, get the banana. Potassium.
Get the banana. Get the banana.
Get the banana. Lullaby.
Like, she didn't say lullaby. That's our thing, Lenny.
Yeah. Well, no, I think she said, well, okay, no, it was just okay, bye. I think, like, at the beginning when she keeps running away. It was like, okay, bye. But yeah, like, definitely, like, was, yeah, just super, super funny, super good. Like, oh man, like, at the end of that stream, I was so exhausted just because I laughed so much.
Yeah, that's one other thing. This chapter's like double the length of chapter 1.
Not double, but I wouldn't say double, but it's definitely like another, like, definitely like another 50% added on top.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on how slow you take it.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
but like if you enjoyed the game and you just check out, well, I guess the town stuff shouldn't be considered part of the chapter, because I feel like that's gonna be a thing in every chapter where you can return to the hub.
Yeah, that's another thing that I was like, and another thing where it's like, oh, so this is how the game's gonna be. But
that is then also, I call that into question, because suddenly there's multiple routes. Maybe? Question mark? Or is the game going to be like, nah, that didn't happen?
No, and of course it happens.
I don't know, Lenny. Maybe Toby has something big planned. Like, what if suddenly everything is normal again? I don't know.
Yeah, we can't really know, because chapter one was like, just one thing.
Because like, if you have these actually there's even more routes, because like either you just Burley's fine, he dies, or his arm hurts, or like is paralyzed. Like, those are very different situations. So either Burley will never show up anymore, no matter what you picked,
or the game will
no matter what you did,
incredibly.
or the game will divert. But then if every chapter is going to have a diversion, does that mean there's going to be like 15
endings
plus endings? It's like, I'm so confused. What is going to happen? It's like crazy. Like, after chapter 1, I wasn't really that invested, but now I'm so invested.
All in.
And what's gonna happen with the characters, the world, and like, apparently the next release will be, quote unquote, a release, and it's gonna be up to chapter 5 according to Lenny.
The next release is gonna be chapter 3, 4, and 5 in one fell swoop.
Oh boy. And so far we know there's gonna be 7 or 8 chapters? 7 on the menu. There's 7 chapters.
There were data miners who were like, oh, they found data for like up to 10 chapters, but it's like, that's placeholder stuff, I think. That
just happens. Like, if you want me to give an example, same happens in Five Nights at Freddy's. It's like, oh, there's a night 100. Like, they're just placeholder stuff. Who cares? But fuck, I was gonna say something. Oh god, Lenny, why did you ruin my train of thought? Hold up, I got to sneeze now. So I guess whatever. Well, I guess, go ahead.
I mean, I don't know. What I definitely also still want to talk about for sure is because it's like with Toby Fox, it's very easy to talk about. Like, all of the characters are funny, and
I wanted to actually talk about characters
and what's the plot and stuff. But I think it's also very important to talk about the gameplay, because I think actually he's doing a lot of cool stuff with the gameplay. Like the battle system is obviously still really good, but then like suddenly the fact that other characters can also start acting is that's interesting, and it'll be easier to do like act combos or whatever, basically. But also like in the overworld there were so many fun gameplay things, like those teacups. I thought they was really cool. And like, first you just take the teacups, then it's like, okay, now you have to hit all of these orbs. Then at the end they bring it back, but then it's like, okay, but now you take damage if you hit the orb, so you have to avoid stuff. Like, he's adding in cool new gameplay gimmicks in the overworld and then developing them in interesting ways. Like, he's really just getting better and better at like level design as well. Yeah,
and also at music. I mean, I don't actually, during the stream I was like, nah, chapter 1 music is still better, but no, they're just as good. I can't say which soundtrack chapter 1 or 2 is better. Like, right now I'm leaning toward chapter 2, but that's just recency bias.
Yeah, maybe.
It's like they're just, his music is just really good.
Like, I still think like, but you know, like, the Field of Hopes and Dreams, that's still like, so fucking good. And there's like, but the thing is, for every amazing track from chapter 1, you can find an equally amazing track in chapter 2. So so like, it's just good music all around, and we're gonna get like 5 more of these.
Oh god, Lenny. You're making me sad because it's gonna take so long again. It's like, I don't have this a lot where I'm like, dude, I cannot wait until this game releases. Usually I'm very level-headed about that, and I tell people
out of your mind and like not really caring about it until it actually happens, and you're like, oh cool, now I'll play it.
Yes, now I'll play it. And I even tell people that, like, when they're like, oh dude, this game, I can't wait for another 2 months. I'm like, dude, it'll be over before you know it. Like, it'll be there and it'll be amazing.
But in this case,
but this game, I'm like, Jesus Christ, just give me more. It's like, I just want to know. And the worst part is, it's gonna take like a decent amount of time again. Let's just say 2 years. But then the game still isn't finished. I want this to happen sooner than later, but like, I also want Toby to take his time. If anything, I want him to take his time, because I mean, he shouldn't just rush and like, like,
If he
torn.
needs to take like 20 years, he can do it for all I care. Put in all of the quality. But I mean, it's not going to be that long.
What's going to release first? Deltarune, the full game, or Oddity?
Ooh, now that's a good question.
Throwing some shade at Oddity.
Oof.
For people who don't know, that's Mother 4.
Under the new branding. I mean, I'm still thinking about like the gameplay implications of the castle town. Where it's like, right now it's like, oh, you can recruit people.
Yeah. But like, you can also
the people
kill
you
people
recruited
now.
from chapter 1, for example, that are in the town, that's just like, you know, they're hanging around, you can talk to them, but it wasn't like a meaningful change. It was just like, oh, you can talk to, you have some funny dialogue. But I wonder how those things might change. I mean, we saw that if you saved everyone in chapter 2, then suddenly you have like the music shop that got added.
See, here's the thing.
And then it's like,
I think as long as you don't do the well, people still call it, let's call it the Snowgrave route.
Yeah.
As long as you don't do that, I'm pretty sure like you'll get the exact same town setup, except if you don't like recruit all enemies, they don't appear in the cafe. I feel like that's going to be the only difference, which just kind of feels like let's just call it like a catalog. Like, oh, you can look at what the enemies are and look like and do sort of like, aside from sparing a certain amount of those enemies, like as long as you don't do the alternate routes, I think your castle town and ending is exactly the same. So, which confuses me more about those alternate routes.
Yeah, like,
or at least the one. I could continue about like smoothly transition from the gameplay to a gameplay mechanic that leads into the story.
Yes.
And then leads into the gameplay, and like there's so many things to talk about. It's frustrating because when we move on from a point, suddenly we might remember something else. But yeah, okay, let's just move on and try to make this as structured as possible. When you mentioned the like other characters can act now, which feels odd to me because the entire idea, and it's explored a lot with Noelle, like the soul is a proxy for the player. It's like that's the way the player tells the characters what to do. And in universe, you are actually actively controlling the characters, or at least Chris.
Yeah, we're actively taking control of Chris. Like, even when we save our game in the beginning, there's a save file for Chris, but they'll say, no, it's my save file now.
But in the like battle menus, like sure you tell Chris what to do, but then you also control the other characters, or is that just Chris telling them what to do?
No, we don't control the characters. Chris is like, we can like it. Like, I think you can still see like Chris pointing to be like, you do this.
It doesn't Noelle say she hears a weird voice, and it's not Chris's?
Well, yeah, that's because that's when we do fucked up shit as Chris.
Well, isn't that just the same always? Like, we tell the characters what to do. So the player, the like, let's say Susie thinks it's Chris telling her, but it's actually us.
Yeah.
And only when we do fucked up shit, like Noelle starts questioning it, and like other characters haven't experienced fucked up Chris.
Yeah, because they feel like, whoa, this isn't like Chris.
I think the whole soul controlling thing, like, I guess the thing is we're inside of Chris, so we actually actively control him. But then other characters can still hear our quote-unquote commands, and they just assume it comes from Chris.
Yeah, I guess. Something like
that. And then
when
you do fucked up shit, Noelle's like, wait, what? Oh, this is very unsettling.
Yeah.
Because I feel it's very much on the nose, where she's like, that voice is not Chris's.
Yeah, like, it's very obvious that the main theme of the game is all about control. Like, us taking control of Chris ripping us out of his body so we can't control him anymore.
But then putting us back. Which is interesting. Yeah. He's definitely, but I mean, that's the whole thing where it's like, first it really seemed like
we're just controlling Chris and we're bringing him along for the ride, and Chris is like, dude, I like this, get the fuck out. But now after chapter 2, it's like, no. He's like, let me go, because I have my own shit that I'm planning. Like, which is also another thing that was surprising. It's like, you know, you hear all about the night is opening, like he's opening dark fountains all over the place, and it's like, oh man, this is gonna be a real mystery. Like, ooh, what's gonna happen? But then, like after chapter 2, it's like, oh yeah, it's Chris who's opening the fountains, which is like, oh okay, I guess that's not gonna be like the big plot at like the end of the game. Oh no, it's just we're gonna continue after this point.
Here's the thing, though. I'm questioning heavily. Like I don't know. Like, does Chris have evil intentions? I want to say no.
Yeah, because this is the most confusing part for me. Is one of the things that I noticed that I'm really, really fond of. I think it's super interesting. Is the fact that, like, okay, like look at Frisk from Undertale. We play as Frisk.
Chris.
Frisk is a like complete blank slate.
Yes.
Completely blank. No emotion whatsoever, just so that we, as a player, can do all of the self-inserting that we want and project our own feelings and stuff onto Frisk, so we can really self-insert, you know, all of that stuff. The thing with Chris is that there are constant moments in the game where the game is telling, like, no, this is the kind of character that Chris is. Like, we've heard from townspeople that, Chris is, kind of a weird kid, likes pulling pranks and stuff on people.
Yeah.
He, like, just like people tell us about what Chris is like, and then there are moments where Chris will kind of like act on his own, or like if there is a choice where we can say yes or no, and we say, for example, like, you know, there's a moment where Susie asks Chris, like, Chris, are you okay, dude? And you can answer, you can choose, you can say, yes, I'm fine. But then Susie will notice, like, yeah, but if you say it in like a strained voice like that, I'm not really gonna believe you.
Yeah,
or
you're
like
forcing Chris to say he's okay, even though he's not okay.
Yeah, and then there's like moments where, you know, also in that scene, it's like, they're trying to cheer Chris up, and then Susie starts making some dumb jokes, and then she's like, that put a smile on his face. So it's like, they really put a lot of effort into showing that Chris is his own character with emotions and like feelings and stuff. Like, and that just makes it more interesting that, of course, we're always taking away his control over himself. But then that makes me feel like Chris is like, he's a weird kid, you know, but he's a good kid. Like, yeah. Which is completely in contrast with the Chris that we see. I would say like a prankster and maybe
kind of a bully. Kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say bully. He's just a kind of a weird kid. I wouldn't say he's a bully, because like all of the stuff that they've said about him is just dumb kid stuff, and just being kind of a weird kid. I wouldn't say bullying, and I definitely wouldn't be like, oh yeah, that Chris is like someone who slashes the tires and stuff.
Yeah, but again, no, that might be part of the Chris being weird thing. Like that thing that, like, oh, he slashes the tires. I feel like it's just a misguided attempt to make Toriel not be able to leave the house, or like run away or something.
Oh no, at the end, that was definitely an intended thing to like make sure Tori doesn't leave the house.
And like, I think Chris, like Chris, what I think Chris's deal is that he misses Asriel, obviously, like his brother, and they used to play games together and just play outside together, and now he's gone off to college, and he really misses Asriel.
Yeah.
So he's creating these dark worlds to have fun adventures like he used to have as a kid. He misses his childhood.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely some kind of escapism thing.
Yes, and that's a word I wrote down, actually. I feel like the main theme of this game is escapism.
Yeah.
Just there's a lot of
well, yeah, of course, like people like, Susie is also talking about like how much cooler the Dark World is.
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, it's definitely a thing. I mean, it's obvious that all of the characters have their own issues. Like the thing with Noelle, again, it's the thing that's probably gonna get expanded upon in later chapters. But like, the thing with Noelle is obviously she's going through a lot of grief over like
something happened.
Something with her sister, whose name is December, probably, because she keeps talking about Des.
Yeah, I wish Des could be here to see this. I think when she's talking to the moon, and then the whole spelling bee she had against Birdley, like she couldn't spell December because, I mean, I guess
she froze
trauma.
up, like
she froze up exactly. Like you spell December, in like the like a little part in the city. You spell December, and
yeah, so there's definitely
something happened with her sister, which is presumably called December, because a lot of hints to that.
So yeah, like she's dealing with that. Susie, some people are speculating also that Susie is also gonna have like her whole deal is that some people think maybe Susie is like homeless or comes from like a really poor family.
She's an orphan, I want to say.
Yeah, so it's like she's also running away from that by going to the Dark World. So there's a bunch, and like, I mean, Birdley was running away.
Birdley as well.
Birdley was running away from like his not actually being the smartest and kind of, but having the pressures of being perceived as being the smart kid from in class. Yeah. In general, it's going to be like an escapism thing for all of the characters, and then for Chris specifically and the player is going to be a whole thing about player control and taking away control.
That is the weirdest part of the game for me. Like, what's our role in all of this? Because the player is definitely like a force in the game, but like, why and where did we come from?
Yeah.
That is the one part, like the most intriguing part to me, like where that is gonna go.
It's very fun to speculate about that. I mean, I think at the end we'll talk more about like what we think is gonna happen in the following like chapters. One thing I definitely also wanted to mention is that because it's chapter 2, we could also see a little bit about how the game continues off from chapter 1. In the sense that there are some parts where the decisions you made and the things you did in chapter 1 have an influence in chapter 2. Most of it is just like funny bits of dialogue. Yeah. Like in the beginning, Noelle gives Susie like some chalk, but that's only if you told Noelle about that. Otherwise, that doesn't happen. That is
not true. That is not true, by the way, because in my chapter 1 replay through, I told Noelle like. Not that she she asked like, oh, what's Susie like or something, and then you can tell her like, she's mean, she's nice, or she likes chalk.
Yeah.
And I just said, oh, she's nice, and then I was like, oh, that I don't believe that. Wait, is she? But then when I played chapter 2, she still gave the chalk. So I feel like that's just an extra scene if you played chapter 1.
Ah, okay, maybe.
So you don't have to specifically tell her she has chalk.
Yeah. Then there's other
chalk.
There's other stuff that carries over, like the weirdest one where I'm like, I don't know why this is a thing, but okay. Like, for some reason, like, Lancer joins your party by going into inventory. Then Rules Card also shows up, and then suddenly the original Star Walker shows up and joins me, and now I have the original Star Walker in my inventory, and that's only a thing because I went back to talk to him. In like chapter 1, so it's like stuff like that is also a thing that carries over. Like there's so many riddle things, that I'm like, wow, okay. And then
like, I feel like Toby keeps track of a lot of things. Yeah, it's like, dude, how many different extra little scenes are you gonna miss?
Yeah,
just from not talking or looking at very specific things in previous chapters.
The one element that is, the most obviously. Taking stuff from chapter 1 is the whole fact that, the machine to thrash your own ass returns, and it actually changes depending on...
Oh, you were talking the entire time?
Yes.
Oh, you were just gone for 15 seconds.
Yeah, apparently my internet fucked up. Well, I mean,
no, I didn't know what you said.
well, I was just saying that. I mean, the most obvious example of like, taking stuff from chapter 1 that you did and it still being a thing in chapter 2 is the machine to thrash your own ass returning.
Yes.
And it changes looks depending on what you made, but this is the interesting part. It actually changes up the gameplay as well, in the sense that when you're fighting rules card, there's different attacks depending on how you made the machine. Because like if it's just completely the duck, I think the only thing it can do is just like waddle across the screen or whatever. But if you have the sword face, he shoots like swords. And then I think it's like lasers and missiles when you have the gun face.
Oh,
and
fun
yeah.
thing, by the way, when I replayed chapter 1, like I made my machine and everything and I played the game, whatever, fine. But then I look back at your stream because I left for like a little while.
Yeah.
And it just blew my mind. We had the exact same machine.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
It's like, what? Because I never saw Lenny's original playthrough because it was not recorded. It was just his own thing. And like in my replay, I feel like our colors were even extremely similar. It was so weird
to
weird. See. Yeah. Yeah, I really hope it does stay like very minor like that.
Yeah, just like
they
fun
don't
little
miss
extras.
out huge things by not doing specific stuff.
Yeah, and then like, yeah, but also stuff like in the final battle against Queen, in the sense, I mean like the giant mecha punch out battle. Yeah, like again, you get an ability that's also specific to the machine that you made.
Still minor, but cool.
Yeah, again, it's a minor thing, but it's still cool that this is thing. And I mean, yeah, I think there's only one thing that is gonna quote unquote matter, but I mean it's also it's still like side content. We'll put it at that. But I think the only thing where it's like, oh, but this is gonna be a big thing if you don't do it is, and I think this is the point where there is still one very big thing that we need to talk about. And I just want to ask you one question, fat guy.
Oh, did I get the egg? No.
Do you want to be a big shot?
I became a big shot.
It's time to talk about the best fucking character in the game, Spamton. Spamton.
He is intriguing. He definitely reveals a lot more than Jevil did.
Yeah, that was my.
They have the same. I don't want to say the same origin, but there's definitely like something that happened to them that they have in common.
Yeah, that was a really big thing for me, was being like, okay, so there's gonna be another super boss here. Wonder what it's gonna be. But the big thing is like, yeah, like if you look at Jevil, it's just like, oh, there's this weird guy in the basement. Go fight him. But then, and I mean, okay, there's a little bit of info when you talk to Sham, where it's like, yeah, he was a court jester. And blah blah, but then he got in contact with someone, and then he went nuts, But like, Spamton has so much more presence in chapter 2. Like, you first meet him in the dumpster, and then you fight him. Then he tells you like, "Oh, come meet me," and then and you hear like characters in the world talk about him, and like
what he used to be.
You learn much more about him and about his past. It's like, there's so much more character put into Spamton that it's like, how are they gonna top this? How are they gonna top Spamton, and how are they gonna top? Now's your time to be a big shot.
Well, every super boss has like dialogue or like actual vocals in either they talk or like there's talking to music.
I mean, God, I hope that's gonna be a regular thing now.
I really hope so, yeah.
Because
like here's a because
like again, like the moment you start talking to Spamton and suddenly you hear the music, you're immediately you're like, what the fuck is this?
I do wonder if, like, I want to say the super bosses and like defeating all the super bosses is gonna be just extra content.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like
for you, if you decide to do it.
Yeah,
and
like it's
doubt
not
it's
going to
be like main plot.
Yeah, like
relevance.
again, it's going to be side stuff. But I think like if you don't fight all the super bosses or whatever, I think that is going to be the one thing where it's like, okay, but that means you're going to miss out on this big side thing. It's still going to be a side thing, but it is going to be a big thing because when you defeat them, you get like these, you get equipment from them, and then you get a dark crystal, and there is an item called the pure crystal. And people are gonna assume. Well, I mean, it's you can only know about it if you check the bakery where you can fuse items. There's a thing you can get by fusing the thorn ring, which is something from the Snowgrave route, and a pure crystal. Oh. And the pure crystal is something about it's something with like purified shadow or something. So it seems to be like you're gonna fight the super bosses and get dark crystals. If you bring those to Sham, he can purify them into a pure crystal, and then with that pure crystal you can do something which is gonna unlock like the real final super boss or something maybe. But like it's not gonna be plot relevant, but it's gonna be like a big significant chunk of content, I think.
You can like get the thorn ring
and then give up on the snow. Yeah.
And then abandon the Snowgrave route.
Mm-hmm.
You think chapter 2 is going to be the only chapter with like an alternate route?
I don't think they're going to keep it just one chapter.
I don't know about that. Because like it's so much extra work if you have to like take all the stuff the player can do into account. And that's why I felt like in chapter 1 was the main deal. Like, oh, your choices don't matter. Mm-hmm. But now suddenly they do, and people, and even Lenny said this to me, like, oh, yeah, your choices don't matter, but other people's choices matter. And I don't like that idea. I feel like it's more of like, Noelle just happened to have a skill that made enemies not able to run away. It's not like, oh, her choices matter, because then you would also be able to kill enemies with like Rousey and Susie, for example. If like their choices did matter. Else you want to say like, oh, they're heroes, so their choices don't matter. And Noelle isn't a hero, so her choices do matter? Question mark. So I don't think it's like your choices don't matter, so other people have to make your choices for you. I don't know where it was really going with that, but the main thing, like, like if you give Noelle the thorn ring and you finish, or like you do the Snowgrave route, she goes away with the thorn ring and you don't have it anymore. Right? Like she has it equipped, and then she immediately leaves after the battle. She uses the spell gotten from the thorn ring. Yeah. So you can never get that back.
Yeah,
so the only way to get the thorn
something
ring,
that comes back in later chapters. Who knows? Who knows?
That was an idea I also had. Like Lenny and other people are like, oh yeah, every chapter will have its own characters. I feel like Noelle is gonna return. Well, I feel like she's way more of a main character than you think.
Oh, I mean, with Noelle, there's clearly plenty of things left unsaid. Like we still don't know exactly what happened with Des, for example. There's definitely clearly some like what's going on with her dad and her mom as well. Like we haven't met her mom yet. She's the mayor of the town. Oh,
by the way, Lenny, you want to reveal your idea?
What?
Please. Oh, don't remember, Lenny, we were talking about this game like someday a little while ago. And then Lenny we were talking about Noelle and her parents, and then Lenny suddenly had the amazing idea what her mom's gonna be called. I'm like,
oh yeah,
yes.
Of course, yeah, we're gonna meet her mom, and her name's gonna be Mary.
Yeah, it's so obvious.
Mary Holiday.
Mary Holiday. It's like it's the name. It's like Melanie.
Write that down. Write that down.
No, that is 100% her name. There's no better name.
Yeah, honestly.
Like, what else would it be? It just makes sense. So good job, Lenny.
We did go off on a bit of a tangent because I still wanted to talk about Spamton. Mostly, like, first off, Spamton. Just Spamton, Spamton. That's a really cool fight, really funky music. But then the super boss version, Spamton Neo, is interesting because, like, I mean, the fact that it's Spamton and he's like, oh, he needs a new body to become stronger, but then it's Mettaton Neo. It's Mettaton Neo's body.
Yeah.
And you can hear it in the music because his theme is in there as well.
Yeah.
And then during the fight, you actually use the shooter gameplay from the Mettaton fights to do the fight. So it's like, I heard some people, and I feel like, might that be a thing where the other super bosses will also use the gameplay from the bosses in Undertale? Like, we're gonna fight a super boss where we're blue, and it's a platforming thing. And we're gonna fight a super boss where we're green, and it's gonna be like, the shield deflecting thing.
I'm not sure about that, because then what was Jevlo about?
I mean, he's the
regular
first. He's the first one.
You're the first member of the super boss crew.
Yeah, you gotta start
slow.
He
can do anything, just for you.
Yeah, you have to start slow before you ramp things up. But that's the thing, like, maybe that could be a thing. I don't know. But basically, like, Spamton as super boss was like, wow, yeah, like,
really
just
fun.
hits on
easier than Jevil, but very
hits
fun.
on all levels. Like, from like, quote unquote lore standpoint, there's so much more to him. From a gameplay standpoint, there was so much more to him. And that's also something that again shows like how cool of a guy Toby is. Like, I told you that, like, there was the glitch where you can like basically spam charge shots.
Yeah.
And then Toby was like, oh, hey, this is a thing. And what he did was not remove it. But what he did, and this is something I actually haven't told you yet because I didn't realize it at first.
You did tell me.
No. What he did is, well, I mean, yeah, he made a thing in the game where like it checks like, oh, like if you did the thing.
And how many times you did the thing.
Yeah, but what that does is if you use that glitch, Spamton goes into a rage mode where his attacks get more difficult.
Oh.
And he gets way more HP.
Oh.
Like,
okay.
He didn't get rid of the glitch. He was just like, oh, people can use that glitch. Well, let's make things more fun for them.
I thought because there's also like it keeps a counter how many times you use it, or that's what you told me at least.
I mean, I thought that was the case, but maybe I was mistaken, and it's just.
And I felt like that was gonna be a thing he brings back for like a joke.
Maybe, but I mean, the big thing is like, yeah, he gets into like a rage mode.
Okay.
And it's like that's just cool.
There's definitely a lot of parallels you can draw between Spamton and then Jevil. Like, they both talk about freedom.
Oh yeah, that's a big thing. They both want like freedom.
No, they have freedom.
Well,
Jevil's like, I'm free.
Well,
and you're stuck.
Yeah, that's the thing. Except for Spamton, of course, he wants freedom. He thought he was gonna have freedom with the suit, but then he's still just a puppet.
Yep.
So, and then like again, like the fact that you have that scene with him where like he doesn't want to be a puppet anymore, and then there's the whole scene with Chris where it's like how much that really got to him. And again it shows like, yeah, Chris really is his own person, and it's like, yeah, they're doing some really interesting stuff.
But then why doesn't Chris react all strange like during the Snowgrave route?
Yeah, that is a very important question.
Or maybe it's just not mentioned yet because Susie hasn't questioned Chris on his action, because Susie and Rousey didn't have the chance to react because they just don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
Rousey sorta, well, not knows what's up. Like there's a part where like Susie goes to uncapturify Noelle or whatever, and then Rousey's like, oh, don't you wonder what she's doing? And then in the regular route you can be like, yes, or like yeah, I do wonder, or like, no, I don't care. And apparently if you say I don't care, you skip the scene with Noelle and Susie. But like, if you do the Snowgrave route, Rousey's like, don't you wonder? And then you just don't get the option. And then Rousey's very confused, like, wait, but Chris, don't you wonder? And you just don't say anything.
Yeah.
So that's like, is Chris getting stronger?
Maybe.
Is he like, is like, okay, I'm not gonna give the player the choice, because the choices that are presented to you, I feel like are still choices Chris comes up with for you. Like, Chris still directs the player, sort of, I want to say. It's like, especially during the ending, where you're like, oh, go wash your hands, and you do it, you go to the kitchen sink. Your inner monologue is like, yeah, sure, you can wash your hands here, but wouldn't the bathroom sink be better? I feel like that's Chris's inner monologue directing the player to the bathroom so he can do his thing. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I feel like the inner monologue you see and the choices you get are still options Chris gives to you.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. Just an idea I had, a thought.
It's definitely possible. I mean, yeah, this is a thing where it's like, yeah, we really don't know enough to...
No, exactly.
No,
it's just
sure.
it's just a guessing game. Of course it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About Azrael is...
Rousey.
I mean, Rousey?
That's
Or is
another
it
thing.
Azrael? Ooh.
Dude, it's like, I don't know if he's to be trusted.
Oh, I don't trust him for a second.
It's...
The thing, there are too many questionable things. Like,
Yes.
oh, how the hell can he travel to different
where
dark
did he
worlds?
come from?
Why can he remain in those dark worlds when other characters can't?
No,
I mean,
he has to be a light world.
Yeah, I mean that,
Lightner.
I mean, you could explain it in the sense that it's like, you know, because all of the because like he is the prince of like the big dark fountain in the town, and everyone can exist there with that dark fountain, just nowhere else.
Yeah.
So you could say that because of that, he can also exist anywhere because he has that power or whatever.
Oh.
But then there's stuff like, you know, again, another thing that I'm really wondering about is when Susie, you know, when you're doing the fight against Sweet Cat and Cakes.
Yeah, and
It's like, you know, we
Rousey
need to
doesn't want
dance,
to
but then,
act.
dance. And then Susie's like, well, why can't I just act? And Rousey seems very dead set on, like, not doing that because, no, it's Chris's thing.
yeah.
And then Susie basically forces him into like, no, we can act as well. So
Yes.
it's like, I definitely feel like Rousey is like leading us on or like pushing us into a certain direction.
I want to say Rousey also wants to push the player.
Yeah,
Or
definitely.
maybe, and it's like also like every time the focus shifts from Chris to someone else. Actually, it's been Susie twice, I think. Like in the dungeon cell in chapter 1, and then in the Noel scene. The second you get back to Chris and Rousey's like, so by the way, it's like this. So that's what it's gonna be like or something.
Yeah.
It's like he just told Chris something
Yeah, that's the thing. A lot
when
of
the player
people,
couldn't see it.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are assuming. That like maybe some people are assuming like it's Rousey telling Chris where to make the next fountain. Is what a lot of people are thinking. Which, I mean, that definitely seems possible.
Oh, that is that is a
Now that's
cool
a spicy
idea.
meatball.
Yeah. Oh, that is interesting. Yeah.
But like, yeah, like Rousey
Yeah,
is...
but no. What then what if you say I don't care, Rousey, what Susie's doing? Then you don't get that.
Ah, that's true actually.
And Chris still creates the fan.
Yeah, that might be true. Yeah, it's definitely, we can't know for
Definitely.
sure.
And here's another thing, and it's like such a minor thing, but you can definitely read into it a lot. Like, you know the tease you can get in chapter 2?
Oh, yeah.
And it sort of reflects how each character feels about the other character. It's like Chris, like if you drink your own tea, it's not that good, just like a regular heal or something. And people are like, oh, there's nothing in this cup. But like Chris really likes Susie, so he gets a good heal from Susie T. But then I think he, like Rousey T, barely heals him. Like even less than Noel T.
Really?
And it's definitely like how much a character likes the other character, because even though in game Noel can never drink Susie tea because she's out of the party by that point, if you hack a Susie tea in your inventory, I know you shouldn't take that as like proof because it's technically not in the game because you can't do it legit. But if Noelle drinks Susie tea, she heals 400 HP. So it's definitely a likability thing in the tea, right?
No, I think in the teas you can definitely like read legitimate like character dynamics into them.
It's like Chris likes Susie, but Chris actually feels a very whatever towards Ralsei.
Yeah.
Which makes it feel even more weird. Why there's so many choices? Oh, hug Ralsei. Yeah. Is Ralsei giving us the choices?
Like Ralsei secretly going like, hug me, Chris, hug me.
Yeah, no, but there's a lot of points where Ralsei just, or like there's so many. Ralsei really wants to be friends with Chris, just so hard.
Yeah, maybe
and hang out with Chris alone, and it's like,
might Chris maybe not be that big a fan of Ralsei because he reminds him of Azrael, and there's very obviously something up with Chris and Azrael. Like, I mean, he obviously misses him very much.
Yep.
Because of his search history about when does the university have like vacation or whatever.
Yeah.
But also stuff like, in Queen's Palace there was a room for Azrael, and they're like, oh, do you want to look inside?
Oh, that was interesting.
Yeah, do you want to look inside? Yes. He opened the door with his eyes closed, so he didn't see anything.
Yeah.
So it's like there's something going on with him and Azrael. Like,
here's the thing.
The moment Azrael appears in the game, in chapter who knows, that's gonna be a very big thing. Like,
that's the thing about the chapter structure. In chapter 1, I think Toriel tells you like, at the end of the week, Azrael will come home.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, how long is a week? 7 days. And how long is each chapter? 1 day. What's the final chapter? Chapter 7. So there's definitely going to be something with Azrael in chapter 7 because that's when he comes home. Presumably.
Well, actually, no. At the end of no, it's not going to be chapter 7 because
or you think chapter 6 because that's Saturday?
Well, no. It's going to be chapter 4 or 5 actually, because chapter 2, that was a Friday because there's not going to be school tomorrow.
Really?
I seem to remember that. Yeah, I seem to remember that it was the last day, the last school day. Or am I completely making this up?
I don't know. You could be.
Maybe I am.
Another thing, it's pretty late in the video to mention this, but we don't know everything about the game. There's no way we've seen everything. And that's another thing about this game. Like, there's so many things in it. There's no way you can see everything.
Yeah, like the whole Snowgrave route was discovered, and it was like, wait, what is this? What?
Like, yeah, Lenny told me about that, and I was like, wait, what? That's a thing now? Suddenly?
Mm-hmm. It's like suddenly someone like, oh my god, people discovered this route, and people looked at it, looked at the text, like, oh no, that has to be fake. But then suddenly there was a video, it's like, wait, it's real? And it was like this crazy, like everything blew up. It was like, what? This is a thing? Huh? No, yeah. It's fake. No, it's real. And like, it was so crazy. Like, Toby can hide so many weird secrets in his game. Like, but I mean, I want to say like, no, the secrets have been found because, data mines and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But even then, it's like, you can never know for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe things that seem irrelevant suddenly become relevant later. Like, there's...
Yeah, and even like you can miss, like, there's so many jokes in the game, and you can still miss a lot of jokes. Because I feel
for sure. Like, when I played
when you check the menu and there's like character descriptions, they change a lot.
Oh,
by the way.
And like, just, I mean, obviously there's points in the game where you get a decision and you get different jokes. So like I never gave the present to Birdley, so I didn't walk around with Birdley in my playthrough. He didn't talk about his little Birdley doll with nipples.
What? Okay, I've never seen this. All right then. The joke that comes to mind is like when you find a moss and you're like a level 2 moss finder.
Yeah.
And then Noelle is moss neutral. neither loyal or
neither lawful nor chaotic towards mom.
lawful nor chaotic to mom. It's like stuff like that. There's just so many things. There's no way you can know everything. So yeah, I don't trust Rousey. And I wonder.
Yeah,
I wonder.
Like, this is gonna be an interesting thing in the next chapter because, well, I mean, if we can talk about like what's gonna happen in the future. Like basically, so yeah, I mean, the game ends with the next dark fountain being created
in our own living room.
So that means that the next dark world that we're gonna play is gonna be in our living room, and because of the TV that got turned on and the evil smile, like it's gonna be like a TV world.
It's Mike.
According to
Lenny,
to
we don't
Spamton.
need Mike. Lenny, we don't need Mike. Can you hear me?
It's yeah.
I know. I mean, we don't need Mike.
There we go.
Yes.
So yeah, like, and then again, I was assuming that in the dark world is gonna be like, oh yeah, we're gonna go out with like all the classmates and stuff, but like in this one, it's probably gonna be like, I mean, Susie is always gonna be with us, I think, but then it's like, oh, it's probably gonna be Toriel with us. Or some
maybe
people
Undyne,
are, and some people are saying, yeah, Undyne maybe as well, because Chris left the door open, obviously, so other people can come in.
Yeah. I really hope Naps the Blue joins. It's just the fact that it's revealed that he's part of the police force.
Yeah,
is just
honestly, like, I mean, obviously, I fucking love Undyne. She's my favorite character in Undertale. I love Undyne.
She's his fish waifu.
But I actually really, really want it to be Naps the Blue. Like, I want the game to really build up the fact, like, oh, it's gonna be Undyne, and then it's Naps the Blue. That'd be, man. I would lose my shit. That'd be hilarious.
Yes.
But yeah, like, so I guess that's probably gonna be Toriel who's gonna be joining us, and then Toriel's gonna be like in this gameplay system, and then the big question is like Toriel's Dark World variant. Is it just gonna be Toriel from Undertale, like outfit wise? Is it gonna be just Undertale Toriel? Because that would be interesting.
Is she gonna meet Rousey? Is she gonna react to Rousey?
Oh, yeah, and that's also a thing. Like, if Rousey shows up here suddenly, like, oh, what happened? That's gonna be extremely.
It could be interesting. Like, what if Rousey appears, but he suddenly has his hat and his cloak, like his blackness again, just so Toriel can't recognize him.
Oh, that might be interesting. Ooh.
And like another thing, like if the character that joins is gonna be Toriel, is she gonna be a party member at some point? And like, it just would be weird to me if the second or like in the alternate routes in chapter 3 is gonna be caused by Toriel, because
like manipulating Toriel.
How the fuck would that work? She's a smart adult. She wouldn't be manipulated by a voice.
Yeah, she
doesn't have a dark past. Which makes me think Noelle is gonna be
back,
like back and like a party member every once in a while, and you can continue from the Snowgrave route, maybe to uncover her crazy ass past, which I assume is something like the whole Snowgrave route is like sort of a parallel to her trauma, and I want to say maybe her sister, like, maybe they went on vacation during the holidays or something to like a snowy mountain cabin, and they went to play outside even though the parents were like, yeah, don't do that, it's cold and dark outside. But then like they went out to the woods and they lost their way, and then her sister died in a snowstorm.
Yeah, something like that maybe.
Because I think the line when she uses Snowgrave is like, I couldn't see anything because of all the snow. I feel like that's a direct parallel to her trauma. So her sister died during a snowstorm when they were going to play outside in the snowstorm, and she feels like it's her fault, even though it's like it's still an accident.
Yeah.
That's my idea of like Noelle's story. And if they want to continue Noelle's story, I feel like she has to reappear in chapters. So she's gonna stay like a party member, not like for like all the game, but like she's gonna appear a couple of times. Again, still guessing game. Like,
Yeah.
As far as I know, it's just going to be Susie, Rousey, Chris.
I'm also
Like, that's what the game would make you believe, that those are going to be your party members.
I'm also thinking now about, like, what do we actually know is gonna happen later in the game? We know, like, we know they're preparing for a festival. That's probably gonna be, like, a cool gameplay thing. Maybe, like, a festival, carnival, like, Dark World.
Shit, you know your anime. Shit goes down when a festival comes.
Yep. Then we know that there's something weird going on with that weird shed in the south of town.
Yeah, with the gaster noises.
And the fact that, like,
the music in the lake.
And the fact that something happened to Chris at that shed.
Wait, what? Where'd you get this information?
Well, dude, if you go down to the shed and Monster Kid and the Snowbird guy are there.
The jokester. Yeah.
They're talking about, like, oh, what is in there? Oh, should we check? Oh, no, I'm scared. Like, oh, what are you, chicken? And then they mention, yeah, but didn't Chris, like, something
Let me look.
happened with Chris, or
Well, yeah, something
shed.
definitely happened with Chris because he's a weird ass kid. Hold up, let me. What's Lenny's channel? Like Bulldozer. Jesus Christ. It's hard to find your channel, Lenny. Did you know?
yeah.
I just go to my comments, type in Bulldozer, and then I find your channel that way.
Yeah, that works. Oh, I found it.
Oh, yes. What did I say?
So, okay, say, what, you chicken? Haha, you got a beak and wings like a chicken? No, just, I'm afraid only kids believe that stuff. But Chris, you gonna be a weenie like Chris? And then Susie interrupts.
So there's literally nobody says Chris went in there.
Well, no, but it's just, I find it interesting that they mention Chris in this place.
Well, because they're kind of like they don't like Chris because Chris is the weird kid.
Well, no, it's like they all want to go in, but then Monster Kid doesn't want to go in because something with Chris.
I guess we could talk about the gaster in the room. the big gaster in the room. Here's the thing. I thought during Undertale, because people were so, like, during the entire, well, time span where we're just Undertale and nobody knew of Deltarune, it's like people were so hyped on, oh, what is Gaster? What does it mean?
The biggest mystery in the game.
The biggest mystery in Undertale. And I'm like, every time people talk about Gaster in that way, I was like, dudes, Gaster is literally the representation of unused content.
Yeah, it's just a creepy little creepypasta thing in the game. It was never meant to be like a big thing. It's just a neat little bonus if you're like digging into the game files and stuff.
Well, there's a lot of meta stuff in the game, like, this represents this, this represents this, and then like Gaster represents unused content in video games as like a parallel to unused content. And that was like all Gaster was to me, not like an actual character in the game. It was just the representation of something that's not in the game anymore. But now suddenly he's important, question mark? Or at least that's what Toby wants you to believe.
There's some strange references to Gaster where I'm like, does it actually mean something?
Yeah. It's like the lake, the music in the lake, which I think the boat guy from Undertale talks about, like their strange music. Don't trust the man who speaks in hands or whatever. Like the boat guy knows about Gaster, basically.
Yeah. And then there's there's so many hints to Gaster throughout the game. Like at the beginning of chapter 1, when you're filling in like the little thing, the music sounds like it's Gaster's theme. When you use your phone in Dark World, it has the sound.
Yeah, there's Gaster.
Yeah, it's Gaster sound that is described in Undertale as garbage noise. And then again, when you talk to when you defeat Spamton, and there's the other salespeople mourning him at his like in the garbage at the trash heap or whatever, you can talk to them, and it's like, yeah, Spamton was a normal salesman, but then he wanted to become a big shot, but then at some point he got a phone call, and then he became a big shot. He was super cool, but then suddenly he had to leave and stuff, and things got fucked up, whatever. And then after he left, they noticed in his room there was a phone hanging off the hook. So when they picked up the phone and listened, all they could hear was garbage noise.
Yeah.
So with both Jevil and Spamton, it seems like they got in contact with someone who basically gave them power, and then it went crazy. Is that person actually Gaster? Because it definitely fucking seems like it.
It feels like it, but it could also be a red herring because it's fucking Toby.
Is the big final super boss gonna be Gaster?
Yeah,
are all the Undertale theory crafters gonna all simultaneously shit their pants
and come?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like that's like just a random idea that popped in my head right now. But like that final super boss could be a parallel to the Sans battle in Undertale, because his weapons were called Gaster Blasters.
Mm-hmm.
Like it could flow like that battle, be like crazy difficult, and you get a lot of hits on YouTube by doing it. Whoa. Yeah, I want to say Gaster is gonna be a thing. But you just don't know with Toby.
Mm-hmm.
He could just be pulling your leg. You're just gonna be, oh no, it's actually this. And it would still make complete sense. Because Toby covers his bases. Like, there's nothing that doesn't make sense, I want to say. Hey, who knows? Is it in the same universe as Undertale? I don't know.
Mm.
Is it a parallel universe of Undertale? I don't know. Why are we the only human in the game? I don't know. Why does Toriel go to the library and take out the book How to Care for Human Children? I don't know. Why are we human? Where did we come from? Why do we exist in this tiny town with no way out? What does it mean, Lenny?
There's a lot of stuff.
There's so many questions.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, like, after playing chapter 2, like coming from chapter 1, suddenly your eyes are open to everything. And where after chapter 1 you're like, yeah, this is nice. Now it's like, oh god, they can go anywhere with this.
Yes, just anything can happen.
Yeah. So at this point, like, to me at this point it's like there's honestly no question for me that this is gonna end up being better than Undertale.
I have very high hopes.
Like, with all of this setup that's happening, we have 5 more chapters to go.
Oh god.
And again, like, this is the game Toby wanted to make from the very beginning, but he literally couldn't because he needed to make Undertale first.
Yeah. You think Undertale is actually going to be relevant to the story of this game?
That is going to be the question, isn't it? Because, like, the one thing that I always thought from the very beginning, even after playing chapter 1, is there were way too many people who were looking for connections to Undertale. For example, the whole thing about, oh my god, at the end of chapter 1, it turns out we're actually Kara. Kara is alive. And it's, or Chara or whatever. And then I'm like, no, it's not Chara. It's just Chris. Like,
it is interesting that it's the same shirt. Like, actually the exact same shirt.
Yeah. I mean, I just think, like, they keep finding these, or like, oh, because a lot of people were also at some point like, oh, is this like a prequel? Is it a sequel? Like, oh, is it like an alternate timeline maybe? But I'm like, it's a completely different thing. It's just using characters that we're familiar with in a completely new context.
It's tough.
But again, it's like,
tough to tell.
Maybe he still finds a way to connect it to Undertale.
Yeah.
Like, so far, you don't need to have played Undertale to play this.
No? I just really hope there's no big deal if you have Undertale's save data.
Oh, I
doubt it.
I want that.
No, because, like, I don't have Undertale's save data on this computer, Lenny. Then like, and if it's gonna take a decade to come out with the game, you can't expect people to have their old Undertale save data. Right? Right. Yeah, what about the Switch? I guess there's Undertale on there.
Yeah.
Like, PlayStation. I don't know. Like, it would be cool, but I think it's just way too much to ask for people to still have their Undertale save data after like a decade. Or even more, actually.
Yeah, I guess that's
what was
true.
It, 2013 Undertale?
Shit, what year was it?
2015? 13 or 15? And now it's gonna be 14. And I'm gonna be like, God.
Oh no, it was 15. Because again, it was 15. Then it took 3 years, and we got Deltarune. Then another 3 years, and we got Chapter 2. So so now I feel like it's gonna be another 3 years. Then we'll get Chapter 3, 4, and 5. Because Toby mentioned in a lot of ways Chapter 2 was the biggest chapter to develop, and he said that a lot of the time in between, like they didn't spend literally 3 years developing the game. A lot of time was also spent just experimenting with different game engines and stuff.
Yeah.
So I definitely feel like 3 years for the next 3 chapters seems possible to me. And then I feel it's probably going to be another 3 years for 6 and 7, because I assume those are going to be a bit bigger and take longer time, because like the ending, it's the finale, so that's going to take more work.
Oh gosh.
He's going to do some crazy shit, dude. He's going to do some crazy shit with the ending.
Why are you telling me this?
Like,
Lenny, we're gonna
just like the simple fact, like, okay, fat guy. Remember the
Lenny, we're gonna be like 35. This is gonna be so weird to look back on.
fat guy. Just think of the WoW moment when you first get into the cyber world, and the music starts, and then you see that beautiful background, or like you see like the beautiful scrolling cityscape background when you're doing the big final punch-out fight. Like the ending is gonna do some crazy shit. Like it's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be fucking.
I know. And he wants it to be the best it can be, so he's definitely gonna take his time. So I mean, Toby isn't one to half-ass something.
Yeah.
So
I do think
it's gonna take time.
Yeah. The thing is, we're definitely gonna have played the full Deltarune game by 2030 at least. So we've got
That's
9 years.
Bold statement, Lenny.
We've got 9 years. It'll be fine.
I'll give Toby, I'll give him until I'm 35. So that's literally 9 years, Toby. Go ahead. Don't you rush. Yeah. It's like, man, his life turned out pretty crazy after Unchained, didn't it?
Mm-hmm. And yet somehow he keeps showing like, yeah, but he's not a one-hit wonder. He's just really good at what he does.
He's still very down to earth, and still very self-conscious.
Well, I mean,
and doesn't really like the fame.
Well, I mean, dogs do tend to be down to earth.
Yeah, that's true. Very. Oh, by the way, if you saw the Undertale, the Deltarune Chapter 2 reveal on the Switch Direct, that was actually Toby dancing in the dog costume.
Yeah, it was Toby wearing a dog costume.
That's pretty good. Pretty good. As it should be.
Yep. The only disappointing part of that trailer is that there was no 3D tutorial crashing through the wall.
Well, maybe Everdread didn't make the trailer.
He does all of the video content for Toby stuff. Like he did the video content for like the Deltarune stream that they did. That which did include a tutorial crashing through the wall, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there was dude, the frame rate of the stream went to absolute shit because a 3D CG tutorial crashed through the wall and exploded.
Okay.
It was amazing.
Oh boy. I feel like there's a million things we didn't mention.
I mean, I think the only things we didn't mention at this point are like, remember the part where Rule's card is upset that you don't show him the picture?
Yes.
Or remember the part where Birdley is like, I thought I could trust you. I thought you were a gamer. And then Queen goes, Birdley, I only play mobile games.
No! See, it's stuff like you can just keep mentioning jokes like that. To infinity. Oh, you want to mention the egg? Like, no, the thing, like, there's so many minor things, like, in this game you can miss. It's like, how is all that gonna affect?
Yeah, the problem is like, thinking
new chapters
about like
and like if you miss one little thing, you have to play the entire game again.
Like if you want to do
one little egg,
a 100% completion run, there's so much stupid shit you gotta do. Like, oh, you gotta do this weird thing in the loading zones. There's a weird tree and a mysterious guy. He gives you an egg. Then you have to put that egg in Asgore's fridge. And then in chapter 2, you have to go to the dumpster where Toby runs you over with a car. That's a thing, by the way. No idea why he put it in there, just to be funny,
it's so
I guess.
Funny. Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, then you can find another egg, and then I don't remember. You have to put that egg somewhere. I don't remember where exactly, but it's like, oh yeah, in Sans's store, I think. But it's like, why is that a thing? Why did Toby decide like, oh, what if the player can find an egg and he needs to put it in the fridge, in a cold place somewhere?
I want that to be a thing, and just every chapter has its egg, and then at the end he's gonna act like it's a big thing, but then the entire joke is gonna be like, oh, they're just Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Ha! Like, it seems like it's gonna be a big thing, but it's just like, no, they were just Easter eggs, and that's the entire joke. I mean, I guess we could elaborate a little bit on the Snowgrave route and how fucked up that route is.
Yeah, I definitely think the whole thing of like, you're not doing evil things. You're manipulating other people in doing fucked up shit for you. That is so much worse. It's so much darker.
Like you as the player.
Yeah, you as the player are forcing and manipulating other characters in doing bad shit for you.
Yeah, which again leads into the thing like, it's not Chris, it's you.
And like, just all of Noelle's dialogue, where she's doubting everything she's doing, but it's like, no, but it's okay. I'm getting stronger, right? Like, I just need to get stronger. I just need to listen what Chris tells me. It's like, oh, it's so, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah, and it's like when you talk like after doing the Snowgrave route, which by the way is where you kill Birdley.
Poor Birdley.
Well, where Noelle kills Birdley, you don't do it.
And where Birdley shows that he is actually just a really good guy who just wants to keep Noelle safe.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like her ending dialogue changes like in the hospital, and then there's this extra little scene where she talks about her dream she experienced, which
good music, by the way, which isn't on the soundtrack.
With good music, which is Gaster's theme, by the way.
Well, interestingly, that's another thing in that music. Gaster's theme is a little bit in there, but also the music, the fountain music at the end of every chapter, that's also in there. So it's like, what does that motif mean?
Yes. And then you as the player can tell her, which I don't know if she heard it, because like you immediately get interrupted by Susie, but you can tell her as a player like, yeah, it wasn't a dream, you killed Birdley. I'm not sure if she heard it, but
yeah, because Susie
like,
interrupts.
if you do that, because Susie immediately interrupts. But the fact that you can tell her and you're like, nah, you killed Birdley, like you can definitely be like evil as a player. And it's like, but it's still a game. But how is that going to play into the next chapters and the ending? Which I'm just so confused about suddenly there being choices now, and there being a genocide, which is a term I still don't like for a route, but I would just call it either, I guess Snowgrave is fine, but let's just call it the alternate route. I've never liked genocide, by the way, as like the genocide route, even for Undertale. I just felt like it was too heavy-handed for like it was.
I think technically the correct term is the no mercy.
Yes. Oh, that's so much better. Yeah, it's like oh, the no mercy route, because that's what you do. The Snowgrave route, because that's like the name of the attack you use in the route. Yeah, okay, that's a lot better actually. The no mercy route. Like I was gonna play in the next chapters, is that like it has to affect something, but then if every chapter has choices like that and you do like crazy stuff in the one chapter, not in the other chapter, certain characters, that there's just way too many what is Toby planning? There's just so many reasons to be extremely excited and intrigued by where this all is gonna go. And I know Toby is just gonna hit the home run. There's no way he's gonna fuck this up. There's no way. Like, I was doubtful in chapter 1 because it felt very basic. But now I'm like, yeah, no. Holy shit. All of this is just so interesting. I'm so excited for where this is gonna go. Oh, man.
Yep.
I want to say that's about it.
Yeah. One last thing to end it. Favorite music track?
Oh, boy, Lenny.
I mean, it's a hard question, of course.
I really like the Queen battle music.
Favorite 3 tracks?
Oh. Well, that's also hard. Wait, you mean from chapter 1 and 2 together? Or
No,
just
just 2.
Okay, just 2? Okay. Big Shot, the Attack of the Killer Queen, and oh fuck, then it's extremely hard to pick a third. Can I just pick 10? Then I'm satisfied.
Oh Jesus, it's like a
oh,
third
God.
of the whole soundtrack.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, I'm definitely Big Shot and Killer Queen, definitely. But then there's a lot of good area music. There's a lot of music that is like weird music, like what's it called? It's like the shop music for Spamton. I think it's called dial tone.
Oh, yeah.
Like that, I wouldn't call that. Oh, that's such good music. But like, it's where it's used.
Yeah,
it makes that music so much better.
It's haunting.
Yes, it's also Jevel's battle theme.
Yeah,
Which is very interesting.
which I assume is like a leitmotif that's going to be shared with all of the super bosses.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward
Also,
to
the
seeing.
phone rings in that music, which is also very unsettling. Like, why is the phone such a big part in all of this?
Pick up the phone. Don't you want to be a big shot?
Pick up the phone, Lenny.
Yeah,
But yeah, like there's a lot of good tracks in the moment, but Jesus Christ, a third.
That actually also reminds me, one of my favorite tracks, which is very, I mean, it's very.
Nah, it's a good choice.
I would say it's underrated because it's. I mean, you don't hear it that easily, I think, but it's the game over theme in this game.
Oh, I thought we were gonna say the Queen theme.
Oh no, that's also obviously super amazing, 10 out of 10. But no, like the game over theme is so beautiful, I feel like. And thinking about the game over theme in Undertale, I'm like, dude, I can't wait for this game over theme,
the relevance,
to become super relevant at the end of the game. Where I'm like, they're like the da da da.
What was it? What was the thing you told me?
And it's like, yeah, like I feel like, I mean, this is my prediction. Right now in my head, I'm like, oh man, I can't wait for that track to reappear when we're fighting a boss fight against Chris as our vessel. Because my idea was at some point Chris is gonna permanently get rid of us, but then we will actually suddenly the vessel that we made in the beginning of the game will actually come back, and we're gonna take control of that vessel.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna go back to Chris, and then we're gonna fight Chris or something. That's my crazy headcanon idea that I have for like end game stuff.
I don't know if that's gonna be a thing.
Yeah, like I feel like, oh, but that would be such a cool thing to like, you know, bring back the vessel at the end. But knowing Toby, it could so easily just be like, no, that was a joke. It's gone. That was the joke.
Yeah. Yeah,
what if
that
it
was
comes
the entire
back,
thing. Like it's
just
weird in chapter 1, or just you start the game, it's like, oh, create your vessel.
Yeah, like Toby can do anything.
Yeah, he can do anything. Yeah, without the game over music, like I don't quite remember what it was, but like chapter 1 doesn't have game over music, unless you say I don't want to continue.
Yeah,
right? Is that it?
Yeah. And then it plays music, and it's also like, I mean, it's a different music track, but it's the same motif.
It's still the fountain theme, in there, right?
What?
The fountain theme that's in there?
No, it's just the
no.
It's just the motif for the game over. Like it's the motif is that motif is only used on game over screens.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, I guess my 3 would be, so I mean, I guess I would put the Game Over theme then, I guess. But then the others are definitely Queen. And then I would
Queen.
say
what?
My Castle Town. It's so beautiful.
It's too tough, Lenny.
And I just like to imagine Toby just playing it on the piano, like he did during the concert. Like, it's just such a beautiful, beautiful tune. The Castle Town theme.
Like, battle-wise, the cyber battle is like such a fun battle theme. It's so upbeat. Or like what the Battle of Victory, which is pretty much the same track from there. And then the Sound Studio, which is also the same track.
I remember at first when playing the game, that music didn't really hit me. But like the longer I go on, the more in my head suddenly I just sometimes catch myself going like.
It's so upbeat. And just Burley's theme, which is like such a
Birdley's like battle theme is like so good.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's also like 70% of Attack of the Killer Queen is also just Birdley's theme, and it's the best part. Yeah. Like, holy shit, Birdley's theme is so fucking awesome. How can such a loser gamer like Birdley have such an amazing theme?
By the way, Toby's really good at track titles.
Oh yeah,
like track titles can also amplify how I view a music track. Mm-hmm. And I want to say the best track title in let's say Undertale and then Deltarune so far for me on a weirdly personal level, because it just you'll get it, but like the best title of any track in Deltarune or Undertale to me is You Can Always Come Home.
Obviously.
It's when I think about that title too much, I just get a little emotional.
Misty-eyed.
Yeah, it's not even like in gameplay perspective, but to me as like in real life. It's like no matter this is getting way too real, but to me, no matter what happens in my life, I know I can always come home, and there's people there for me, which might play into what the game's going to be about, like escapism and stuff. So I don't know. There's a lot of just good, nice one, Toby. Very good.
Although I still think from chapter 1, the world revolving is the fucking coolest title.
Sure, but that's just cool because it's cool.
Yeah. And I also really like the fact that for Spamton, the first theme is "Don't you want to be a?" And then the super boss theme is Big Shot.
Wait, is that even it? Isn't it like, "Hey, every"?
Oh yeah, that's.
Oh no, it's now's your chance to be a, and then the super boss.
Yeah.
Is
his
Big
first
Shot.
battle theme is now's your chance to be a.
That's it. But like just almost all the music in these two chapters is fucking bangers. It's so hard to pick favorites.
Yeah, Toby's just really good at what he does. Holy shit.
It's like even the like a Cyber's world, but that's also more like as a gameplay memory, because like when you start and when you slide down the track and the music track starts playing, and there's this little dodging game with the beginning bleepy bloopy notes. That's just so fun.
And then you land when suddenly like the track really hits.
Yes.
And then you see the first save point and that beautiful vista behind you, and it's like the power of a new adventure shines within you. It's like, oh my god, that feels so good.
Man, we can keep talking about this game, Lenny.
Yeah, remember when you said like, oh, I really doubt we're gonna be over an hour.
How long is it? Nice! An hour and 40 minutes. Let's go.
Deltarune Chapter 2 discussion, the feature film.
Isn't that going to be great, having to rewatch our discussion on Chapter 2 when 3, 4, and 5 releases?
Nah, I can put it on in the background like while I'm working, so for me it's fine.
I can't do that during work, but I'm definitely going to do that. Holy shit. But I feel like we have so much more to work with. There's going to be a lot.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Our guesses are a lot better and a lot more grounded in what the game's actually shown us.
But yeah, get ready for the next discussion video to be 3 hours long.
Get ready to be a big shot. Lenny, get the banana.
Potassium.
God damn it. Fucking random ass crappy meme jokes.
Like,
Why is he so good at
why
that?
does he have the perfect mindset to just create memes?
Yeah.
Like, dude, I can't get enough of Spamton posting. It's
And
hilarious.
usually I'm not a meme guy, contrary to popular belief. Like, just random is funny. I don't like that. But, like, for some reason, Toby is just, like, very carefully walks that line where it's
Toby
still
just
funny.
knows how to do it.
Yeah. We need to end this.
Yeah,
thing.
okay, fuck it. It's over. It's over.
No.
Everyone go home. Video's over.
Yes, bye.
Bye, big shots.